1st of May, Rabbi Furst, Pierke Avos.
Ushnei.
Yeah, go ahead, Pat.
Okay, well, let me just. What?
Go ahead, continue.
Okay, all right.
So
Ushnei Banov and two sons.
two sons, right? Ishto V'shtei He
Yeah.
this one man left, and he took his wife and his
And his
two
kids,
sons, right?
two boys.
Right.
Does
So-
that mean that I'm always curious, does that mean he didn't have any daughters? Or they're only mentioning the sons because they were the inheritors or something?
Right. It could if you just look at the pasuk itself, it could mean both. It could go either way.
Mhm,
Right.
okay,
So you could go either way. Whether he actually had daughters or not, I don't know.
yeah, okay.
That I don't know.
Vishain,
So one second, hold on. So let's see. Does anyone has the Rashi with their commentator there? Does the article?
I have, let me see, Rashi, yes.
Let's take a look at Rashi.
Vayehi b'mei shofet hashoftim.
Right.
Livnei Meluch Melech, before the king.
Yeah, right. The name Moloch Melech Shoel, before the ascendancy of Shoel to the kings, to the monarchy. So this took place right at the time of Shoftim. Shoftim was the period of time before we had the Malachi, right? There was no king amongst the Jews at the time, right? So this is Rashi's telling you, this is taking that it says it would be May Shofet or Shoftim. This is the time when the judges were the leaders of Klal Yisrael, and this was the before the reign of Shaul, who was the first king of the Jews, took place.
So he was, so he was very, very high in the hierarchy.
What do you mean?
I mean, he was a shofet when there was no king, so he was even more powerful, more important.
Well, the question is, was he? How do we know if he was this person who left Beis Lechem? Do we know if he was a shofet or not?
No, actually, according to the pasuk, it's only saying that he was alive during that time. It doesn't say he was a shofet.
Right. It doesn't say he was himself was a shofet. Right.
Right.
Good. Okay, that's good. Good to know that. Right. Okay.
I mean, but it seems from later on that he was judged because he was such an important person.
Okay, good. So we'll have to see that.
We'll have to see.
At this point, he hasn't been identified exactly. Right.
Yeah. Is there any significance to the fact that when it first talks about what he does, it calls him the Ish. It doesn't. It does. A man, so it could have just as well said that Elimelech, Vayelech Elimelech mebeis lechem.
Right.
So it seems that I mean, is there significance when someone's called an Ish?
Yeah, there is significance when he's called an Ish. An Ish is usually someone who's on a certain madrega, right? If you remember, what was the phrase used by Mordechai when the Megillah first introduces Mordechai?
Ish Yehudi.
Ish Yehudi was called Ish Yehudi, right?
Yeah.
So therefore he was given that also as a title. The fact he's called an Ish, that the pasuk references this person as being an Ish, that gives significance to them, right? Correct. Okay. Does anyone in the Midrashim, anyone see anything that is particularly significant in the Midrashim that you have there at your access, the Midrash Rabbah?
Well,
That we'd like
it
to
said
comment?
in this Judaica series, it says from Rashi from Rus Rabbah, it says he was very wealthy and the leader of the generation.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so he left the land of Israel for regions outside the land because of stinginess, for he begrudged the poor who came to press him. Therefore, he was punished. That's the Rashi.
Okay, all right, we'll have to see if Rashi, we'll get to the Rashi then, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Very good.
I have a comment here.
Okay,
It
go ahead.
says,
Ruth.
but they were not simply the days of the judges. They were the days of the judging of the judges. They were the days, our sages point out, when the judges were being judged.
Mhm.
If a judge would point out a small offense committed by a Jew, the Jew would point out a worse offense committed by the judge. If the judge rebuked someone for an obvious wrongdoing, the man would reply that the misdeeds of the judge were equally grave, although harder to detect. And if he was chastised for sinning in private, he would retort that the judge had sinned in public.
Uh-huh.
I've got here that a different approach is taken by Igeris Shmuel. The Midrash states that a famine comes only upon a strong and righteous people that can withstand the test. Therefore, we can say that the generation was not lawless. On the contrary, it was a time when Shoftim, the judges, judged, and the people listened. It was to this generation that God, knowing they would withstand the test and not flee or be, there's a word here, I don't know what it is, contumacious against the desirable land, against Eretz Israel, brought a famine against them. And it was so, no one left Eretz Israel except for the single family mentioned in the scripture.
Mhm. Okay.
And also it says up here that Vayehi, and it happened, wherever in the Bible we find the term Vayehi b'mei, and it happened, the days, it indicates the approach of trouble.
Going to be trouble. And the trouble is ostensibly the famine that was being experienced.
Probably, yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we have so there are a couple of different ways you can understand when it says v'yamei shofet or shoftim, whether that's the judges were judging, which is good that they were judging, and even according to the other shot that they were judging, but they were being countered with criticism, but still in fact they were judging. It wasn't they may have had difficulty dealing with the population, but they were in fact judging.
Yeah. The fact, Rebbe, the fact that it says Shofet ha-shoftim, doesn't that eliminate the possibility that it means judging the judges? Because grammatically, it couldn't mean that.
Mhm.
Shofet ha-shoftim means the judges were judging.
Yeah, the question is, since it is a bit extra. I mean, it could have said "V'yehi b'mei hashoftim," right, at the time of the shoftim. So if there were shoftim there, that means you could most likely assume that if there were shoftim there, they were doing their job, right? So the fact that there's an extra word, shofet hashoftim, right? So that can be taken in one of two ways, right? That it's either l'shvach, it's for praise, or on the other hand, the ganai, it's for something which is undignified, that they were.
Well, then if it does mean when the judge is judged, then it should say, shouldn't it say shoiftim hashoftim?
No,
Because-
Sheaf two Hashoftim.
Shiftu? Oh,
Yeah,
oh
sure.
yeah, right. It would be in the, this is in singular. It should be in the plural, right? That's what.
Shafot is singular. Maybe
Right.
it's pointing to Elimelech specifically, like we said before, he was the head judge.
So if it, so Mayor, if it was in the plural that they judged, that the Shoftim judged, it would say, it would be Shiftu,
Yeah,
Shiftu
Mhm.
HaShoftim, right?
yeah.
So,
Which
so-
means all the judge, I guess all
Yeah.
the judges of
Were
Israel were
judging,
judging.
right.
Yeah.
The judges were
Right.
judging. So the fact that it says Shvot,
Shafot, yeah.
yeah, so
I
then
think that's singular.
it's singular, so that has some significance.
Yeah, so I mean, the fact that the grammatical structure of the sentence is designed to include different nuances and understanding, right? Rather than just saying the push-up shot, right?
Right.
So, yeah, so based on that it's indicated through these nuances of the grammar here, that there are several things going on at the same time,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which that, and there you leave that to Chazal, to the Midrashim, to tell us all about those things.
Right.
Okay, very good. Let's see. So take a look at Rashi. Rashi says further, he says, V'yelech ish. You have that part of the Rashi, V'yelech ish,
Yeah.
and a man went.
Ish.
This is what you mentioned
Usher,
previously.
yeah. Usher Gadol, he who Ufarnes
Yes.
Hador. So he was a great person.
Usher, meaning Usher Gadol, he was very rich.
He was rich. He was rich, and Farnes.
Farnes Agor, he was one of the leaders of the generation.
Oh, okay. Oh, so we know. Yeah, he was.
Didn't say he was a shayfet. Okay, didn't say he was
Right.
Rashi. Didn't say he's a shayfet. It was his Farnes Hador. He was one of the leaders of the generation.
Because he was rich.
Well, Farnes also implies that, correct? Because Farnes implies that he was,
Oh, yeah, Panasa.
from exactly Parnas. I mean,
Right.
he was through his wealth, he was capable of helping the generation meet their needs.
Right. But he was not on the Besdin or whatever.
Apparently, maybe he was, but Rashi's not mentioning that at this point.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I mean, that seems to be his Rashi. If we understand Rashi correctly, I would imagine Rashi is telling us the most important things we need to know about him, right?
Right.
He could have been a Talmud Chacham, he could have been a Shreifet, he could have sat on Beis Din, right? He could have done a lot of things. What Rashi is mentioning, of all the things we could say about him, Rashi is saying that his aspect of importance at this point for us is to know that he was an Asher Gadol, was very rich, and a Farnes Hador, and was one of the leaders of the generation.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to root itself in the fact that he was rich. Okay, let's finish the Rashi. Rashi goes a few more lines.
Vayela. I don't know.
Rashi says, "V'yetze meretz Yisrael."
Eretz Israel. And he left Eretz Israel.
L'chutz la'aretz.
That's chutz. L'chutz la'aretz. Mipnei tzuras ha'ayin.
Soras Ayin, because he was a Soras Ayin means he was a Kamsan, he was a stingy person.
So as an iron, okay. I thought that meant that he had trouble, but it means stinginess. Okay.
Right.
Shoyasa era ino
Right.
sora.
Sora Be'eniyim. He had a stingy attitude towards the poor people that were coming to him.
Right, because he didn't want to donate the food for them.
Right.
Now, I mean, but couldn't it? Would it have been possible if for him to say, "Okay, listen, I have a lot of assets, and I have a lot of grain, whatever, stored away, but I'm going to charge you." In other words, during the famine, you can come and you'll sign the IOU, and then when the famine's over, you'll start to pay me back every month. Couldn't that have been a possible solution, or is that not acceptable al pi halacha, like to do that?
Well, I mean, if again, there are certain rules to give to tzedakah, to who you give to tzedakah, right? So there's nothing wrong with look, again, if people don't have money, they're not obligated to sell their house to buy food. They're not obligated to sell their pots and pans and the clothes that they wear, right? These things we're not obligating a person. He can collect tzedakah even if he has a house and if he has clothes and utensils to live on. He's not obligated to sell everything. Some things he's obligated to sell, some things he's not, right? But if you want to take an example, you can take an example from Yosef, how he approached the famine when it struck Egypt. If you remember the psukim in the end, toward the end of Bereshit, he had them sell their cattle and their livestock. He had them sell their lands. Eventually, had themselves sell themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a.
So Elimelech had options.
Yeah, I mean, imagine. Look again, and he's again. Rashi said he's an Usher Gadol. He wasn't simply rich. Usher Gadol was very rich, right? He was very rich, right? So, but even at that, there are limits in terms of how much money a person really has to give. I mean, he could have. The question was he doing when he said it when he was Tsaras Ayin, right? That he was stingy. Does that mean that he was not even fulfilling his basic obligations of tzedakah? Or he didn't want to go further than the basic obligations of tzedakah?
Right. In other words, he could have said, okay, I'll give 10% of my grain to the Bezdin, and they can give it out to the poor people. I'm giving tzedakah 10%. So he gives 10% of his grain. Now, when that's all used up, he has the right to say, okay, I'll give you more, but you owe me.
Yeah, because once he's fulfilled his basic obligation of tzedakah, right? So yeah, right. All right, we'll see. Maybe there'll be more explanations of why and what he did and what the criticism was. Okay, let's look at the second pasuk now.
V'shem ha'ish Elimelech. His name was Elimelech. V'shem ishto Naami. V'shem shenei banov Machlon v'chilion. Ephrasim Mibeit Lechem, Yehuda. Vayavo Sedei Moab, Vayihi Sham. And he went to Moab and he stayed there.
Okay. So now in the second pasuk, we're given the
The names.
name, right? And the name of him, his name, Elimelech, and Naomi, his wife's name, and the names of the two sons. Now, so what's this? Now what's this expression? Ephrosim, the Beis Lechem Yehuda. Ephrosim.
Well, it's
It could reflect that they're Jews, maybe, as opposed to non-Jews.
The fact that they're Ephrosim, meaning you're learning that it was from they were from Shevet
Ephraim.
Ephraim.
Yeah.
Mhm.
so is it a title?
That's the question. I'm not sure.
When it's they're Ephraim, it's like they're.
So take a look at Rashi. Rashi says Ephrosim. This is what Rashi is coming to explain. What's this expression Ephrosim here? Does it mean that they were from Shevet Ephraim, or was it to mean something else? Let's see what Rashi says.
This is Bays.
Right, the second
Oh,
passage.
yeah, hold it.
Mayor, you're doing better on this Rashi script. You want to do it? You want to do it?
I don't have Rashi. I'm just giving my
Oh.
own thoughts.
Oh, okay. That was your own thoughts. I thought you were reading the commentary. Okay. Ephraim.
Yes. Does the Roy,
Chashuvim, important. V'chein, Bain. I need a magnifying glass here. Chasa Ben Suf.
Oh, this is interesting.
They're important people. They're chashuvim. V'chein Bain Hayasa Ben Suf. Who is that?
That's I'm not sure what Rashi's making a reference to here.
So this must be something important to be a Ben Suf. If Russi of Nisa. Of Ninos.
Rashi, yeah. So the Roy, does the art school give you any clues to Rashi at all?
No, no, I haven't got any classes of different other things.
No.
Mine says we are told that they were Ephratites, that is, distinguished people from the Judean town of Bethlehem.
Oh,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
what else is interesting is Aphar, I guess it's Afar, whatever, is
Right.
ashes. And if Elimelech was sort of the dark sheep of Israel, it sort of makes sense that this is describing him as an Ephraim, maybe something from ashes. You know, he has a black face or something.
Chashuvim. Yeah, well, I know Rashi says they're chashuvim. They were important.
Yeah, that's just the opposite.
the
But
opposite, exactly. Yeah.
the fact that he was planning to leave or he left sort of maybe lessened his status. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a medrash. The medrash, I'm not sure if you have the medrash Rabbi there. There's two opinions. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi Omer, meaning what's Ephrasim? Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi Omer b'nei Paltin chashuvim. They were those Paltin b'nei Paltin, and they were like princes. They were important princes, and that's Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Nehemiah Omer Sarim. They were Sarim. They were like dukes.
Yeah, ministers or something, yeah.
The Midrash considers the word to be a title of honor, interpreting it to mean courtiers, aristocrats. It may be derived from the word Afrion, a crown. That is, one who possesses the crown bequeathed by Yaakov Avinu at the time of his departure from the world. The word usually indicates a descendant of Ephraim or a native of Ephrath, Bethlehem.
Uh-huh.
Right.
A bit more. Yeah, according to, here says it, what you said, according to Rashi, I didn't see that. It means distinguished person.
I didn't hear you. You broke up. What did you say that again, please, Roy?
According to Rashi, Ephraim means a distinguished persons. And then he says, see how important they were. And he puts an exclamation mark. Eglon, the king of Moab, married his daughter, Ruth, to Machlon. As the master has expounded, Ruth was the daughter of Eglon.
Oh, so yeah, so you see, exactly. You're going to see that the Ruth and the Orpah, they were princesses. They were the daughters of the king, right? They were daughters of the king. So the king would not let it just anybody marry his daughters. That's for sure.
So,
right?
The original name for Bethlehem was Ephrath.
Ah, okay, that's also important to know. Very good.
Okay.
Doesn't it mention that by where Rachel is buried, where in the Bereshit, where the pasuk says she was Yaakov Avinu buried her by didn't it mention Ephraim? By Beit Lech? Trying to remember. And let me get a chumash. Let's get a chumash.
yeah, well, okay. If that's true, then the one that they go to is in the wrong place. No?
While you're looking for that, I'll say this, that also there was a very distinguished family called in Judah, and they descended from Ephrath, another name for Miriam, the sister of Moshe, Rabbina.
Okay.
Ephrath was another name for her, as a wife of Caleb.
Well, Rabbi, you're 100% correct.
What's that?
Rachel was buried on the road to Ephrat, which is Bethlehem.
Oh, Baruch Hashem. Okay, very good. So that's a pasuk mefurish.
But
So,
isn't but the kever that everybody goes to, you know, isn't that's not on that road, isn't it? Is that where, you know, the place that everybody goes to, the kever Rachel,
right?
That's not on the what we just described. That's not in that location. Isn't that correct?
Because Rachel wasn't buried with Leah, right?
Yeah,
Rachel was buried on the road when she died.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Rachel was buried on the road.
Right. But it was on the road that led to that place. That was the road that was going to Ephraim.
Oh, okay.
So but wouldn't that be further south than the current place that everybody says is Kever Rachel?
I don't know. I'd have to look at my GPS, I guess. No,
Yeah.
I don't, I, no, I really, I don't really, I
doesn't-
don't really know. I don't really know. It's, what, I imagine what Beit Lechem was, that was a very popular place. I mean, Beit Lechem from the very beginning of our history. The Beit Lechem was a very, and once Eretz Yisrael became settled, then I'm sure people wanted to settle close by where the Kever Rachel was. Right? Now that was in whose favorite was that? That should be in, isn't that in Yehuda? No, isn't that considered to be in Yehuda? Does anyone have a
No,
map?
it would not be in Yehuda. It
No.
would, it would be in one of the sons of Rachel. It would be in
Either Yosef, no, Yosef or Binyamin.
Binyamin. It would be in Binyamin. Geva Binyamin.
Yeah, you think so?
No, the reason I'm asking this is because in my neighborhood,
Right.
there is the Arabs have a place that they for centuries they say this is Kever Rachel, and it's in Geva Binyamin.
Right.
Oh, really? Okay, because
Yeah,
Beit
yeah.
Lechem is in the tribe of Judah.
Oh, it is in Yehuda, right? Beit Lechem
Yeah,
should be in Yehuda.
that's what
Beit
it
Lechem
says.
should be in Yehuda. Uh-huh.
But you're right about Rachel. Rachel could be in Binyamin. Let me
That's right.
see.
Yeah, that's the. So we can still get to it from here. It's one of the places that it's not dangerous to go to, where the Arabs are.
Mhm.
But the Arabs have a tradition that's Kever Rachel.
Really?
Yeah,
Is it, there's in fact a kever there?
yeah. There's a Kever there. I spoke to my son about it. He's going to take me there. I guess when he gets off from work, when he has some time,
Right.
we're gonna go there. It's not elaborate at all. It's.
The question is though, is that by anywhere near Ephras? Right, because that's what the pasuk says, right? It's the pasuk says and that's in Parshas. Right?
In the Chumash, it says Ephras.
Let's take a look. Let's see. Mary, you want to reference us to that pasuk again, please?
Oh, I think it was, okay, hold on.
It's in Parshas by Yisla.
It was 1835 or something.
It's in Shemos.
No, this would be in Bereshis.
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 In Bereshis.
I closed the book.
Hold on, we'll find it. Hold on.
I've got here for Bereshis 35:19 and 48:7, where
Let's take it one at a time. So
Okay,
35.
35:19 sounds familiar.
may not be what you're looking for. The Midrash offers different interpretations because the word Ephrasites in our verse could not refer to the tribe of Ephraim, since Elimelech and his sons were of the tribe of Judah.
Oh, so if they were from Yehuda, that would be right. So that would be if they're from Yehuda. So if they in fact came from that, they were called from Ephras, and Ephras was in fact in Shevet Yehuda. That was in the territory of Shevet Yehuda. And how do we know that? Because if you take a look there, you have the pasuk there, Barry, and then 30 35:19.
Right.
Right.
Vayisa mebeis el vayehi od kivrat haaretz leva Ephrasa vatelech Rachel vatakash bilita. Okay, so it said, but So is Ephras here a city? Or is it a general direction?
Well, derech Ephras, that's what, again, it says there, with Thomas Rachel, with Tikaver, b'derech Ephrasa, he Beis Lechem. And Rachel died there and was buried on derech Ephrasa, on the derech of Ephrasa, which is Beis Lechem.
All right, there's a
But they weren't there yet. They were not in Yehuda yet. Because right, because if you look at the geography, the Shevet Binyamin joins Yehuda, right? As you approach from Adam, from where we are in Shevet Binyamin, it's not to, you can travel further and get to Yehuda. But it means but this says about a barak of the land to go to Ephras. They were not in Ephras.
well, hang on. It says here that the sages did not define it as a Ephrathite, a native of Ephrath, because if Bethlehem is referred to as Ephrath by the author of Megillus Ruth, then he should have used that name in verse 1 as well. Obviously, therefore, Ephrathite must be taken as a description of the family rather than as a reference to their city.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay.
Tamima and Gishmei Bracha.
Oh, so, right, so that you're right, you have, because that's what Rashi's saying. Rashi says, what is Ephras? Ephras is that they were Cheshuvim, not that they were from this place Ephras, because they were already told told that they came from Beis Lechem. But now Beis Lechem is not too far from Ephras, right?
Right. Okay, that's true. But how far is Abaris? Because where we are in Shevet Benjamin, it's not that far to Yehuda.
Right.
It's not that far. You can walk it.
Right.
It would take a while, but how far is Abaris? It was still about Abaris of the land to go to Ephras. They weren't in Ephras yet. So whatever that distance was, it could very well mean that they were in Binyamin. I mean, at the time that Yaakov was traveling, the land had not been divided up yet, right? So we can't say that's Shevet Binyamin and it hadn't been divided. He's just arriving with his family. But eventually when it was divided up, that would have been where Binyamin was. That would have been the chelik of Binyamin.
Yeah. All right.
So what are we coming?
Oh, go ahead, Roy.
I'm just asking a question. What are we coming up with then? Or is it too early to ask?
Yeah. First, I wanted to see. Let's see. What was the other pasuk that you had there, Roy? What was the other pasuk that it was the reference to?
48:7.
48:7.
48:7. Okay.
48:7. 48:7. Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay. Va'ani b'voi mipadan. Is that the one?
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. So
Mesa alai Rachel be'eretz Canaan b'derech on the road.
right.
Ba'od bivras eretz. It's about a barrel of a land to go. Leva Ephrasa. V'ekbar sham, and I buried her there, b'derech Ephras,
Ephras.
who bebeis lechem. Mhm.
Right. Okay.
Oh. Mhm. Rashi says that that a bevras is an amount of plowing land.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah, because I don't know if you look on I have to get a map to look at because even in isn't it correct that by the base of Migdash that part of that land was Binyamin's?
Yeah. Okay. That's true. Right.
So Binyamin's land, extended. There's a point there where Binyamin and Yehuda join, or they're adjacent to each other.
Right. Okay. But base Lechem, everyone should agree that that's part of Shevet Yehuda. Base Lechem.
Yeah, but they weren't there yet. That's the point.
Right.
They were a beres away, which is where we are now in Adam. It's a short distance.
Right. So you could walk to Base Lechem from where you are.
Yeah, you could. I mean, it's from where I am to get to Yerushalayim would be where Pisgat Zev is.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, we take a bus, of course, but I'm saying it's only because the road now goes through different neighborhoods, so to speak. It's not a safe walk, but it's walkable.
Yeah. Okay. Look. So I mean, in any event, we have two things. We have one as to where Rachel was buried, which was and again it's Bederech Ephras, right? The Derech Ephras could be the road leading to Ephras, and Ephras was a separate place, a locality, right? And there was a road which is called Derech Ephras. And it happened, the burial took place in Beis Lechem, which is on the Derech Ephras.
Right.
Okay, fine.
That would put it here in Adam.
Okay.
I mean, that it could be.
Okay. All right. And then you have that as Rashi explains here in our Megillus Ruth that Ephras, they were Ephrasim, meaning they Mebeis Lechem Yehuda, because that's Beis Lechem Yehuda, so that's obviously clear, right? And it see that the pasuk seems to be very repetitious from repetition of pasuk Aleph. Pasuk Aleph, we already said that he came to Ish Mebeis Lechem Yehuda, right? He came from Beis Lechem Yehuda, and he went Legor b'stei Moab, right? And he went to be Gor and stay up Moab, in the field of Moab. And here it says here that they came to Beis Lechem Yehuda, who Yavo stay Moab, Yusham, and that's where they were.
Yeah,
So,
well, but that's actually he's in Bet Lechem. He's not Derech Beit Lechem. He's Avimelech is Elimelech is in Beit Lechem.
yeah, he
He's not on the way.
No, he was a resident. He obviously was a resident of Beis Lechem.
Right. But Rachel died on the way to Bet Lechem, not in Bet Lechem. Derech.
That's right. If you've ever been there, I mean, it's not too far from actual Beit Lechem. I mean, it's only a very short walk from From what the
I'd like to find out, I'd like to find out what, who was it that determined that what they now call Kever Rachel, who decided that? Some English archaeologist?
I have no idea. I have no
You know
idea.
what I mean? I mean, it's a very, you know, I'm curious about the, you know, who determined that?
Right.
I mean, it was all the, a lot of the historical sites that we know now were not determined by Jews in Eretz Israel. They were all these rich English archaeologists who came and dug around, and they said, this is this is that, you know, and it turns out they were wrong. You know, they did a lot of studies by the base of Migdash, and they said this gate was this, and this is, and later on it turns out they were wrong.
Yeah.
One would
Okay.
imagine that with the time that's passed so far, with all these years, that something would have been said about this, that Kevel Rachel is not the one that we think it is.
Oh, there is a lot written about it. There's a
Mm.
lot written about it, but
It's still accepted as the Kevel Rachel, isn't it? Still accepted as such.
yeah, oh yeah, no, the majority of the people accept it, but but they're only accepting something that was told them.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
it doesn't stand up to investigation. That's the whole point.
That would have been settled ages ago in that case. No?
Not necessarily, because the people who sell the souvenirs in Kever, the people selling souvenirs in Kever Rachel, you know, they can smear a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Well,
It's already established. It's good. They got bus routes, you know, and everything. The pamphlets are printed already. New, all right, Lausanne Lane, you know.
okay, well, look, Barry, if you want to go into competition, you know, competition is always very good, you know.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I'm right here in the neighborhood. I want to start something up here and sell souvenirs. You know what I mean? It's right around the corner here.
There
All right.
goes your hats.
Huh? What's
There
that?
goes your hat. There goes your hats.
Yeah, my hats. Oh,
Sell them as souvenirs.
yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we've gone overtime today, so we'll stop now and make a switch for the next year. We'll be learning Hilchos Sfiras Omer. Be learning a few things about Sfiras Omer for the next week or so. So that's in Chelek K. If you have your fifth volume of the Mishnah Berurah, we'll start with yeah, volume Hay.
Thank you.
Okay, Roy, have a good afternoon. Hope to see you tomorrow. A
Yes.
good Chodesh to you and everyone else. We'll see you all soon again. Starting next year in a few minutes.
Sent me
Okay.
is good for a while now, is it?
Excuse me?
The link you just sent me is good for a while.
Yeah, this is the link that Lou provides. Lou should be hosting in general most cases. You go straight to this link in general, the one I sent you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Quite welcome. Have a wonderful afternoon.
So are we on a break, Rebbe?
Yeah, we got a little break and we'll start in a few minutes the Mishnah Berurah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure we're still on next Wednesday. I took the vitamin. Oh, thank you. Okay, I just want to grab a quick bite to eat here. And then go inside. how much we're going to have in the next class because it's run overboard on the first segment. Going to daven before you leave. Okay.
Let's see what happened.
Okay.